Today is Monday, June 1st. I had the pleasure of seeing The Backrooms this weekend, so I'm going to talk about my top 3 characteristics of The Backrooms. And by The Backrooms, I don't mean Backrooms the film, I mean the Backrooms themselves that were the center subject of that film. Throughout this little chat, I am not going to spoil any of the plot points of this movie, just discuss elements of the Backrooms themselves that you may have seen in previews or just in other advertisements about the film up to this point. So no major spoilers, just a few little conceptual details and discussions that I hope don't really spoil the plot. I'm not familiar with the web series that Kane Parsons developed prior to the release of this film. All I know is the film which I saw this past Friday. So the top 3 characteristics, in my opinion, are first, just the concept of the Backrooms being a liminal space. Second would be the nightmare dream space that maybe at least some of us have been to before. And then finally, just the whole uncertainty of what exactly is even happening in the Backrooms would be characteristic number 3. So starting with characteristic number 1, the liminal space concept. The Backrooms sprung from an image of an office building prior to renovation with kind of butter yellow walls, no windows, overhead lighting, just kind of unattractive, ready to be renovated space. The Backrooms, the concept of the film, of the web series, they are a transitional space. That's what a liminal space is, but not in the same way that that office building was, which existed in a certain state, was to be renovated, and then would exist in a different state, look different until someone changed it again. The Backrooms are constantly changing. They are in a state of constant transition, which means that at any point, doors can open up into the Backrooms in reality, or they can also close back to reality. So just that whole cosmic uncertainty of not knowing if you could fall or run or drive into a doorway into this space at any moment, or if you found yourself there, you might try to go back through the doorway you entered through and then find that that doorway no longer exists. So that is horrifying. The second and probably most personal characteristic for me is the nightmare dream space. So part of the movie features some found footage, which I believe that the web series did as well. So it's in first-person perspective, it's a little bit grainy. Somebody is moving through the Backrooms, which they are, again, the soft yellow walls, low ceilings, no windows, weirdly shaped doors in odd places, some of which are locked, birds flying around inside, sale banners from a furniture store just clipping out of the ceiling where the letters are backwards or not even real letters at all, ship's wheels coming out of ceilings part of the way, furniture coming up out of the floor, chairs with legs of different lengths, chairs stuck together at the seat, things that don't really exist in reality. They're just a little bit off. And that whole first person's perspective where things are just a little bit off, you know how they're supposed to be, but they don't really exist that way in reality, was super terrifying to me because it's like one of every 5 of my nightmares. I'm in a space like this, where I'm with someone I know is supposed to be someone from my life, but they really don't look the way that they look in real life. Or I'm at a place that I've been to in my life, like my childhood home, for example, but it doesn't look the way it looks in reality, or even the way it looked in my memories. That whole idea of a nightmare, something that I had been in before, just sucked me right into the film, and I was able to just kind of project my own personal terror on the rest of the film because of that. I even read a comment on a post to that effect, you know, that nightmare dream world we've all been to, and ironically, the response to that comment was a textbook definition of what dreams represent, and the conclusion that that person's nightmare dream world represented unresolved trauma, which I guess maybe we haven't all been to that place, but I've definitely been there, and I don't know if it represents unresolved trauma. It's just a place that exists in my dreams, and it was personally terrifying to me. The third and final characteristic is just the what is happening-ness of the film. There's a lot of what is even going on, because as I mentioned before, there are components of the Backrooms that are almost like they would exist in reality, even a reality that we recognize, but they're just a little bit off. We're given a few different explanations or comparisons as to what the Backrooms are like. The first of which is, if you were to describe a dog to someone who had never seen a dog and then ask them to draw it. I find that description very interesting, because not only would it be strange to meet someone who had never seen a dog, but if their representation of it was completely different from yours, it would almost be uncomfortable, because I know, most of us know what a dog looks like, the characteristics of a dog. And if someone truly doesn't know and what they put out there as their representation of a dog is so different, it's almost uncanny. It's scary and just makes you feel wrong. Another description that we get is that the Backrooms are like a memory. Some of the aspects are exaggerated, some of them are diminished. It's imperfect. And that begs the question, whose memory is it then? And rather, who's drawing the dog, so to speak? Who is pulling the strings? Why is this happening? And I think that just all culminates, all three characteristics, in a complete and total lack of control. And that's really scary to me personally. And I know that what scares us is deeply personal, entirely subjective. But either way, I really enjoyed the film. It was, to me, one of the scariest things I had seen in a long time. And I hope you go see it. That's it for today. Happy Monday, happy week. Talk to you soon.